All right, guys, I'm here with Eduarda, who is taking the pronunciation expert course. Eduarda, where do you live?
At the moment, I'm living in England in a
Mhm.
place called Reading.
How long have you lived there?
I'm living here for 1 year and I believe 3 months or four.
Okay, so almost a year and a half, basically. Okay.
Yes,
And Eduarda is one of my students. She's one of the private students I teach, but she is taking the pronunciation expert course, like I said earlier. And why did you decide to take this course?
first because I'm living here, so every day I need to speak and I need to try to understand the others, and I really want to improve my listening, my reading, everything is connected. So I decided that it would be a good idea to practice and to improve my English.
Okay. Do you find it hard to understand what the native English speakers say in England? Because we know that there are a lot of accents in England, so it's a bit hard to understand what some people are saying, depending on where they're from, their social class. This can really affect our understanding, not just non-native English speakers, but native speakers as well from other countries, like let's say if you're American and you're living in the US, in England, you might have a hard time understanding what people are saying because of the accent part. So, has the course helped you to, or is the course helping you to
Mhm.
understand people better?
Definitely. Definitely is helping me because in my work, at least, I have contact with a lot of different people, a lot of sometimes immigrants as well. So there is a lot of different accents that I need to pay attention. And I need to pay attention in mine as well, because sometimes maybe they will not be able to understand me. And I need to repeat that word in another way, with another pronunciation. I need to use some of the techniques that I'm learning. So it's quite good, to be honest.
Yeah, we focus mainly on American English in the course, but what I want people to understand is that the pronunciation of the words that are in the course are considered standard by most native English speakers. And by native English speakers, I mean native speakers from all over the world. There is a part in the course that we focus on British English, and I teach some of the sounds that are common in the UK, which can help people if they are living in England or in Ireland, Wales, you name it. So the pronunciation course, I do have a sort of an American accent or a standard American accent, but the course suits everybody basically. And since you live in England, and after what you've just said, we can tell that the course does help people that are living in England and have to be in contact with people that have a very strong accent when they speak English. Because sometimes people say, oh, I need to sound American to speak good English, or I need to sound British to speak good English. And that's not really the case. You sound quite American. Is that a problem for you at work?
No, it's not a problem. Definitely, it's not a problem.
Hmm.
I think my colleagues understand me very well. And if they don't understand, I just repeat. To be honest, there is not a problem. I don't feel embarrassed or stuff like that. And if I don't understand, then as well, I also ask, could you repeat, please? Because I'm not able to understand this word. So is this is the case with my Scottish colleague. Sometimes the accent is too strong and I completely don't understand. So I need to ask her to repeat, but it's not a problem.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember working with people from the UK, and I never had a problem with that. I mean, they never felt that they couldn't understand what I was saying. On the contrary, they would say that my pronunciation was clear and that it was easy to understand me. What people need to understand is when I'm teaching, I don't need to speak really fast because this is what we call teacher speech. And I'm teaching, I don't need to be, oh, hey, what's up? What are you doing with your life? And blah, yada, yada, yada. that's not how communication works. You know, I pause and then I think and then I ask you questions. And my other question is, do you think you feel more comfortable to express yourself now that you're taking the course? Did you feel uncomfortable before?
When I first arrived, I used to feel uncomfortable and insecure because it was my first time like having long conversations, and I was like struggling to express myself.
Mm-hmm.
But now I really feel more confident and just secure and calm when I need to speak. So I don't feel that it's longer a problem for me. Sometimes I still need to think, but I don't feel insecure like at a point that I don't want to speak because I think I will not be able. So
I see. And which lessons of the course did you like the most?
I really enjoy how you teach. How can I express myself? The sounds, because you're always like putting a zoom in your mouth so we can see the movements that you are doing, which for me is really good. And also the lessons about connected speech. And for me, it's also really good the terminations with ed. Sometimes it's difficult to pronounce, but it's really good to know how can I improve this and how can I pronounce correctly.
Very good. Yeah, the ED sounds like guys worked, studied, performed, etc. are not very easy for most Brazilian English speakers. Let's not forget that the instructions in the course are in Portuguese. Do you think this helps?
Yeah, for me, it's good. It's not a problem if it was in English because I'm living in this context now, so it won't be a problem. But if you are studying, I think it's easier to
Mhm.
understand.
Yeah, and then it saves time because let's say if I was using terms that your students are not familiar with, they would have something else to pay attention to, and that's not what I want. I want people to focus on improving their pronunciation. I think that most courses that I see online, not related to pronunciation, but English courses in general, sometimes they focus too much on theory, and I want the
Mhm.
to focus on practice. I've always been interested in that. I don't care much about theory. I want practice, something that actually works and that students can use it straight away. But if you want to improve your pronunciation, don't you think you need to practice a lot at home?
Every day.
Yes, but do you
Every day we need to
spend
practice.
hours a day practicing or not?
No, I don't believe you need hours. You just need to be consistent. So I think this is the key.
Uh-huh. Yes, I agree with you. It's the key to improve your pronunciation. You don't need to study like hours a day to see a result. What you need is you need to pay attention, be interested, diligent, and focused so you can see the results eventually. The other question I was going to ask you is, do you think the lessons from about each sound are long or short enough for you so that you have enough time to study after?
I think the time of the lessons, I don't have nothing negative to say. For me, it's a good time. Sometimes they are really short, like 1 minute or 2 minutes. Sometimes a bit more longer, like 6 minutes, seven. But I think it's completely fine about the time. I don't have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, because I didn't want to make the course too long. I mean, there are 60 lessons. I'm planning to add a few more as soon as I have time. Um, but I didn't want the lessons to be too long, to be a lecture. I wanted them to be really practical, like, oh, 6 minutes. So I made sure that all the videos were short and sweet, like easy to understand, easy to apply the techniques that I'm teaching. Do you think you've built this muscular memory now? Do you think now you know where your tongue and how you should move your mouth to pronounce words correctly?
I think I am much more better in this,
Mm-hmm.
much more better.
Much better.
I exactly. So when I speak now, sometimes I know that I need to pay attention in the movements. Sometimes if I need to speak a slower, so I can do like I can pronounce the word correctly. So I don't need to be fast, you
Mm,
know.
yes, I see what you mean. And I know that to some people that are watching the video, they might think you're advanced because you can express yourself clearly. But little do they know that you're intermediate, almost upper end. You want to be upper end because there are a lot of words you still don't know, Eduarda, right?
Yes.
And do you think that you need to be advanced, or can you be, I don't know, like an elementary student, like to have basic English skills to take the course?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Because you just need to practice and you need to repeat and try to improve. I don't think it's necessary to have an advanced knowledge to do the course.
I agree with you. You don't need to be advanced in order to speak and express yourself well, because first, the instructions are in Portuguese. I like doing my interviews in English, and I think most of my followers like that. They love watching the videos. And the second thing is that since we're focusing on sounds and phrases, tongue twisters, it is really easy for most students to mimic what the sounds I'm making in the videos. So you don't need to have advanced English skills to take the course. Some students are advanced. I also have students in the course that are teachers, English teachers, that want to learn techniques to help their students to speak English better and to help them with pronunciation. Because what we know about pronunciation is a lot of theory, and some of the exercises that I learned as a teacher were too complex and a bunch of symbols. And I said, this is just theory. Now we need practice. And that's the techniques that are part of the course are some techniques that we use with actors, for instance. And then actors, like when they need to sound American or British or South African, this is what we really do. We pay attention to how the jaw moves, the lips, and if you practice a little bit every day, you will see the results. I know you've been very busy lately because you're working a lot. Eduarda is a psychologist, aren't you, in the UK? Yes. And do you think you need a lot of time to finish the course?
No, I don't think it's necessary to have a lot of time. I believe it's just necessary a lot of time if you want to repeat the lessons a few times so you can definitely practice and practice more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
I agree.
which is I believe is the case. So you have not that much. I think there is 16 you mentioned of lessons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
roughly 60 lessons, yes.
1 minute, 2 minutes, so you can repeat and repeat and keep practicing. I think this is the case. It's really good. At least I study like this.
Yes, that's great. That's the right way to study. So, guys, no excuses. You can sound like Eduarda and me in the future if you practice long enough and if you're willing to make this change, not this effort, because the course isn't difficult, is it?
No, it's not.
It is not. You just need to be patient. Sometimes I know everybody's busy, working a lot. We're tired mentally, but if you're willing to to take the plunge, if you're willing to dive into this pronunciation world, you will see differences. But there is no point in taking the course if you want a magic pill. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't need to do anything. Well, it's practice. The theory is very interesting, but it doesn't take you anywhere. All right, that's it. Eduarda, thank you so much for your comments. I think they'll help a lot of people that are on this journey that want to sound natural when they speak English. But I have one last question. Do you think people think you sound natural when you speak English at work? When you talk to strangers? How is it?
So I am receiving a lot of positive comments about my English, which for me it's really good. And they notice that I'm not from here, of course, because of my accent, but just accomplishments like you speak really well, I can understand you perfectly. So
That's great. Yes. And that's a big compliment, because people, when you learn someone's language, you're telling them that you're interested in their culture and you want
yeah.
to know more about it. So most native speakers, regardless of where they're from, I mean, a native speaker from Brazil or a native speaker from, I don't know, Costa Rica, they're actually happy when they know we speak their language because like, wow, you took time of your life to learn my language. That's what you're telling people. Like the Chinese, you might have seen videos of the Chinese saying when they hear someone speaking their language, they're like, oh, what?
Yes.
How can you speak my language? And that tells them that you want to know about their culture, you understand how they think. So that's the fun part of learning new languages. You can interact with people better, and you're not just in a bubble. And that's, I think, what most people shouldn't really do in life. If you want to be a citizen of the world, you need to expose yourself to different cultures, accents, and that can build bridges, and help people to bring people closer to you and open doors, and at work, in education, for like, I don't know, entertainment, you name it. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank
And
you.
please, guys, check out the course. The link is in my profile.